Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Uh, Next, we'll start the next chapter, that is permissions, performance, and the security. See, I want to say one thing about this fifth module. See, this fifth module, it is the topics which are there in this fifth module is very less. That is why, whenever for your exams or for your test, please don't leave this module. See, even I have prepared the notes. This maximum would have 20 pages. Okay, maximum 20 pages are there. If you study this much, it is enough to score 20 marks. Okay, please don't leave this module 5. Okay, most of them it is theory. Even the coding part is also very less in this module 5. That is why please don't leave this module for the exams. I'm not talking about the people who study all the 5 modules. I know some of the students will select only 3 modules, 4 modules in that way. For those students, I'm saying, please don't leave this module. Okay? Hmm. Very urgent. Students are very urgent to send the attendance. Okay, we'll start. See, I think you have came across the mobile apps which are asking for the permissions. Whenever you install an app, and any app, it will ask you allow permission to use only this time. You will see this message only this time or every time, like this. Some alert message you are going to see in your mobile if you have installed any apps, and it will ask the permission to read the contacts, like the Truecaller. Whenever you install the Truecaller, your contacts will be available in the Truecaller when you give the permission. I think you have come across this situation. That is what the permission we are talking about. And any app, it is free to use the resources, but it should get a permission to use the any app. The apps that we install on the mobile, uh, it is free to use the resources, but the user should provide the permissions. It can be the data, resources, hardware, software, anything it requires. We are ready to give. See, some of the apps, it will use your camera. For that, it will ask you to the permission. Whether shall I use the camera? You should press on yes or no. Okay. That is what the permission we are talking about. Always the app should get the permission from the user, and then it has to use then any hardware or the software. Okay. Uh, why we have to do this is because the camera hardware or any other thing, it doesn't belong to your app. If your app wants to use it, then you should get a permission of that user. Okay, how to request the permission? See, for us, whenever we use the app, we see the permissions, like whether to use. We have to going to click on yes or no. That is what we see. But in the background, in the coding part, what we should do, what we have to add is once again the configuration file, which is Android manifest file. That file, in that you have to add this users permissions, Android name, android.permission.camera. If you add this much, whenever the app gets installed and when it is started using by the user, it will ask for the uh, whenever app starts to use camera, then that alert message will be thrown to the user. He has to click on yes or no. Okay, this is how in your code you have to add, that is inside the Android manifest file. Some of the other permissions where you can see is to use the user contacts, to use the user calendar, or accessing the device location. Always some of the apps like Amazon or any other, if you open the Gmail, if you search something in the Google, then it will ask you to give the permission to on the GPS. Okay, if it wants to access the GPS location, you have to provide. That is why accessing the device location or sensors, for everything we are going to, the user has to provide the permissions. See how many permissions are there, almost predefined almost. There are 100 predefined permissions are there. With that, even you are going to add the permission to use the hardware, such as whether can use the camera or fingerprint hardware. All these are other predefined permissions. These are by default permissions is uh, some 100 permissions are there. Whenever we want to reboot the device, once again it will ask the permission. You have to click yes or no. Whenever we change the time zone, see, these are all the different situations where we request the permissions from the user. These are the different permissions. Whether we can classify them, yes, we can classify. One is the normal permissions, another one is the which is called as dangerous permission. And when we say it is normal, means it is not going to affect the user. Affect the user means user's privacy or user data. User means it will not infect the normal human. It is the user's data. It is going to create a problem. User privacy, and also connecting to the whenever we connect it to the internet. What about dangerous permissions is that it is going to affect the user's data, user's private data. Always, if there are the normal permissions, the Android framework, what it is going to do is automatically it will going to give the permissions. For dangerous permissions, the Android framework explicitly it will ask. There are two different models are there. Means in the Android, how the Android has improved. There was a previously 3 to 4 years back. There was a one permission model which is called as, which we say now it is a old permission model. Now it is a new permission model. What is that old permission model is, whenever the user asks for the permission, he may give during the runtime or afterwards. The user is going to give the permission for camera or any hardware or any other thing. But successive time, whenever you use the apps, you are not going to ask the permission once again. We assume that the user has already granted the permission. We are going to use it. That is the old permission model. But in the new permissions model, what they have done is, as long as he uses, whenever the app is running, the user has to grant the permission. And it should not be assumed that once for the first time he has given the permission, and from the next time the app should not ask. No, every time whenever he uses the app, we have to ask the permissions from the user. That is what the new model. See, this is one example where the app has a permissions to write to the user calendar. In my mobile, I have a calendar, and the app will ask the permission to write it something to the calendar. We provide the permissions, right? Update this to the calendar, add this to the calendar. Okay, whenever we do that, in the background this permission check will be done. Context compact check self permission on write calendar. If you have the permission, where if the user provides, then it will be updated. Then it will be updated in the calendar. This is what the difference between the old permission model and new. ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದ್ಸಲಿ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ಆಯ್ತು. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸಲ ಆ್ಯಪ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾಗಲೇ ಆ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಇದೆಯೋ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ದ ಡೆವಲಪರ್ ಹತ್ರ ಕೋಡಿಂಗೂ ಮಾಡಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ಈಗೆಲ್ಲ ಆ್ಯಪ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡೋರು ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಎವ್ರಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಯೂಸರ್ ಆ್ಯಪ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾಗ ಏನಾರು ರಿಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ಗಳು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅಂದರೆ ಯೂಸರಿಂದ ಆ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೇಬೇಕು. ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಯಾಲೆಂಡ್ರಿಗೆ, ಯೂಸರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲೆಂಡ್ರಿಗೆ ಅಪ್ಡೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಿದ್ದೀರ, ಈ ಥರ ಒಂದು ಕೋಡ್ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಈ ಕೋಡ್ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಗ್ರೌಂಡಲ್ಲಿ ಚೆಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಕ್ಯಾಲೆಂಡರ್ ರೈಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ, ಕ್ಯಾಲೆಂಡ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಅಪ್ಡೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. You want to add some webinar is there, that alert should be added to the calendar. If you want to add that, if you write this much of code, it will ask the user for the permission, or else if the permission is there, it is going to check self permission is there. Okay, finally, what are the best practices you have to follow for the permission is, the app should ask permission, but not too many. For everything, for clicking, it should not ask. For dragging, one more permission. No, wherever it is required, only for that the permission should be asked by any app. In that way, the code should be written by the developer. ನಾವು ಆ ಥರ ಕೋಡ್ ಬರೆದಿದ್ರೆ ಆ ಥರ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ನ ಕೇಳುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ಅಲರ್ಟ್ ಮೆಸೇಜು ಯೂಸರಿಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ನಾವೇ ಬರೆದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಆ ಥರ ಎಲ್ಲದೂ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ, ಯಾವುದೊಂದು ಬಟನ್ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೂ ಒಂದು ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಕೇಳೋದು, ಯಾವುದೊಂದು ಡ್ರ್ಯಾಗ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೂ ಕೇಳೋದು, ಒಂದು ಟೈಪ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೂ ಕೇಳೋದು, ಆ ಥರ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಆ ಆ್ಯಪ್ನೇ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. Okay, the user gets suspicious. Okay, and also instead of asking the permission, there is a one more option called intent. There is an option called intent. Intent is nothing but an object. That object, if you send there, that object, from the object you are for that intent, you will get the response whether to use particular component or not. Okay, instead of that, we better use this intent. Other than asking the permissions, we use the intents to ask the permissions. Because for the intent, whenever you send the intent to the camera app example, from there you are going to get the response from the camera itself, whether to use or not. That is why intent will be better, and too many permissions you have to stop. That will be the best practices in case of permissions. Okay, is it clear about the permissions? ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಏನು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅದೆಲ್ಲದು ನೀವು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ನೋಡಿರೋ ಅಂಥದ್ದು. ಆದರೆ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಗ್ರೌಂಡಲ್ಲಿ ಕೋಡ್ ಏನು ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದಷ್ಟೇ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ನೀವು ಯಾವ್ದಾರು ಆ್ಯಪ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗೆಲ್ಲ ಡಿವೈಸ್ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಅಂತ ಎಸ್ ಆರ್ ನೋ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಇದೊಂದು ಸಲ ಅಲೌಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲೌ ಮಾಡಿ, ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಗಿವ್. ಓಕೆ, the next is, after the permissions, we'll discuss about the performance. See, however the application is user friendly, it's so beautiful to see, easily you can drag and drop, but if it is not small, if it is not in terms of size, if it is not fast, or if it is not efficient, that will not become popular. The app will not become popular. It should be, in terms of size, it should be small, faster, and it should be efficient. Even though it is interesting and beautiful, it will not become success. Okay, in terms of size, why we should say? Because memory is the main factor in an embedded system. Memory is the main factor, and also the device battery and the space also. And some of the apps, it will use the internet. Okay, there you have to think about the user's data plan also. That is why it should use minimum data should be used. If your app, see, daily you are going to get 1.5 GB. Whenever and anyone, if we use an app, if it consumes 200 MB, 300 MB, okay, but the task what he is going to do is just save the data into the database, or he is going to view the data into the from the database. For just only two purpose, to view and save, if it consumes 200 MB, okay, then no one will use that app. That is why we have to think about the user's data plan also. Okay, what all the things we have to keep in mind whenever we develop that will affect the performance? One is, we know this already, the long running task which is in the background, that we have to uh, keep it away from the main thread. We discussed about main thread, UI thread, worker thread, right, in the previous classes. In from the main thread, we have to keep a long running task. See, take example of an hardware. With that hardware, whatever you see on the screen, whatever you see on the screen, that screen, it will update every 16 milliseconds. In every 16 milliseconds, it gets updates. In that case, if you give all the jobs to the main thread itself, then what happens? That main thread, it cannot update the screen within 16 milliseconds. It may take more time. If it takes more time, the main thread, what it will do is it will skip that frame and it will bring the next frame. Then what happens to the user is going to miss some of the information. That is why the keep the long running task of the main thread is the thing. But the main thread, it is going to do some task, and in the same way worker threads are there, that is going to do all the other tasks. And all the long running task, that we have to give it to the worker thread, not to the main thread. That is one you have to keep in mind. You can check how well your app does at the rendering screen within the 16 millisecond on the Android device. See, this is how you can see. Go to the settings, developer tools. In the monitor section, you have to select profile GPU rendering on screens. In the dialog box, you will screen as the bars. Okay. Wait, if you have that diagram, you'll see. Hmm. See this. See, this is what the bars we used to say. Okay. On screen as bars, profile GPU rendering on screen as bars. Okay. Immediately you will start seeing colored bars on your screen. That is what you are going to see, how well your app will rendering these screens. Rendering is nothing but it is going to bring and display it on the screens. That is, that too within the 16 milliseconds time limit. Okay. Okay, this is one you have to do it. First step, performance it has to improve means you have to keep the long running task from the main thread. Give everything to the long running task to the worker threads. Main thread, it has its responsibilities. And we have to simplify our user interface. How to simplify the user interface? See, what all the things we have to avoid is overlapping or the nested layouts. Inside the relative layout, add one linear layout. Inside the linear layout, adding one more layout, adding one more layout within that. That is called as deeply nested layouts. That we have to avoid. And displaying one view over the other, that we have to avoid. If you avoid this much, your power and battery, that is going to save. If you use multiple layouts, it takes more time to draw that layout and then add the views. Then it will consume more power and the battery. In designing stage itself, to design that layout itself, it takes some time. That is why the performance, it is not going to improve. That is why these two things you have to avoid. We have to simplify our nested layouts and also overlapping views. Overlapping views means on the button, you are going to display one more icon. that is a separate button displaying one view on the other. If they are separate, then it is not a problem. Okay, that is what we are saying. Deeply nested, simplify the layout. Simplify the layouts means adding one linear layout, after that another linear layout, add one by one, instead of adding one linear layout inside another linear layout and inside another linear layout, all these linear layout inside and any constraint layout. See, this type of, if you do, uh, then performance it will not improve. That is what we say, flatten the layouts as much as possible. Flatten it. Flatten it means one after the other you add the layouts. Instead of adding one inside one layout, add one after the other. That will consumes the less power. And minimizing is nothing but minimize the overlapping views. For that, they give an example. See, each layout in your app is like a door. Okay, you assume it as an in your home, you have a door, right? Every time your app paints as pixels, means if you want to see an any image, there should be some pixels. Whenever there is a pixels, then only you can see an any image or an any video. That is what is called painting. If there are overlapping views are there, first view we have to paint, means all the pixel it has to draw. After that, on top of that, one more one more view, means for that view also we have to paint it. That is why it takes more time and resources for drawing the pixels, and that to drawing over again and again on this at the same place. But some of the components we are not going to see itself. Whenever there is a overlapping, what is there at the bottom we are not going to see, but we have wasted our time for drawing, means painting the pixels. That is why we have to reduce the overlapping views. If you do in that way, or reduce the nested layouts, that will improve the performance. And one more is, we have an option to monitor the performance of your running app. Which are the you can monitor? Memory, CPU, GPU, network, all the memory. How much memory is allocated? How much means in that real time? How much CPU is being used? See, in our mobile or in our desktop, you can see all the statistics, the performance here, right? What about CPU? What about memory, disk? What about the Ethernet which is connected, and also the Wi-Fi? See, CPU in my 2.5 gigahertz, the base speed is 2.6 gigahertz. 29% of them it is being used here. Memory, it's an 8 GB RAM. In that 3.5 GB is allocated. Okay, disk it is not being used now. 4% the disk has been used. Hard disk. See, this is what the statistics we are going to see in the task manager. In the same way, in the mobile, you are going to get. See here, I'll show that also. See, like this, you are going to see the chart. Monitors, memory, how much it is being used, CPU, network, the graphics also, processing unit, the GPU unit, it will also show how much is being used. By seeing this, what we can infer the information is, so whenever my using my app, okay, more the memory is being used. Network, it is not we is going to use. Okay, much amount of the CPU time is going to use. More GPU means more GPU is being used. By seeing this chart, you can infer some information, and based on that, you can uh, do alternate to improve the. You can do the alternates for to improve the performance. Okay. Next, what are the we talked about the performance. Next, we discussed about the permissions and the performance. The next thing we have to discuss is about the security. Three things we are discussing here: the security best practices, whether we have to provide the security. Yes, without the security, it can be anything. It is for home or any bank or anywhere security is required. In the same way, for our data also, security is required. Even though the apps, they are separate from one app to the other, but we should have some. We are going to separate them with the permissions. Without the permissions, if you don't have a permission, what will happen is we will write the application in such a way that to get the data from other application. ನಾವು ಬರೆಯೋ ಆ್ಯಪ್ ಹೆಂಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾವುದೋ ಫೇಸ್ಬುಕ್ಕಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಕೋಡ್ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಗ್ರಾಮಿಂದ ಡೇಟಾ ತೊಗೊಳೋದು. ಈ ಥರ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಅದು ತಗೊಳ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಓಕೆ, we have this much flexibility, permissions are there, but our user data should be kept safer and there should be integrity. No one should change means we have to provide security. Okay, what are the best practices we have to use to provide this security is, first one, handling the user data. Okay, I have given the permission to update in the calendar. I have given the permission. On any app that has asked me the permission, I want to write something. A webinar is there that I have to update in your calendar. Okay, I have given the permission. What your app should do is, it should go and just update in my calendar, but it should not delete all the other calendar entries. If you do that much, then it is wrong. Okay. That is what we are saying, security to the other data, existing data. All the Android apps that will operate on the implied trust. What we have assumed or what we trust is, okay, this app, it is not going to do anything to our existing data. But if it does in that way, just updating one entry in the calendar, instead of that, if it deletes all the other entries, then no one is going to trust that app. One more, the Truecaller, we are going to give the permission to read the contacts. But if the Truecallers, after reading the contacts, if it sends spam messages to all the user contacts it has, then what happens? Yes, that is what you should be careful whenever they design the app, whenever they get the permission to read the contacts, they should not misuse that data. All the Android apps, it will operates on the some implied trust. They trust it, but we should not misuse. And also that now the Truecaller has all my contacts because I have given the permission. It has read over the internet. That app should not send all that contacts to some other person or to some other app. Okay, that much of ethics should be there whenever we develop any app. One more, whenever we connect to the public Wi-Fi, see, we know our in our home we have a Wi-Fi, we are going to use it. But whenever we connect to the public Wi-Fi outside, means at the coffee shop or at the airport or at the railway station, what we should be careful is, always whenever we use any websites, we should always use the secured website like HTTPS instead of HTTP. Because if it is in public Wi-Fi, there is a problem to your user data. And also we have to design the uh, our app in such a way that whenever we connect to the public Wi-Fi also, there should be some security. For that security level, technologies, methods we have to use, protocols. Which protocol we have to use? HTTPS. If we use that HTTPS, what is the advantage? All the data which is going to be sent, it will be in the encrypted format. This protection mechanism that we have to include whenever we design the app, because when that app is being connected to the public Wi-Fi, there is a problem to the user data. That we have to keep in mind whenever we design the app. And also coding level. Now, validating the user input. Whenever the user is going to enter the data, if the application asks, the user will accept the input. But the data what we enter, that should not create harmful food to your device. Always we have to validate. See, the user, the app is going to ask the PDF. Now, the user what is going to do is, instead of giving the PDF, he is going to give some exe file. If he gives the exe file, what happens? We have to validate there itself and check the file. Okay, if it is not .pdf, if it is exe file, remove it and throw message to the user that please proper select the proper file format. And also there is a problem like this: buffer overflows, dangling pointers, off by one errors. We have to use the technologies to reduce these kind of problems. Okay, the problem is from the outside. Whenever you take the data, there is a chances of harmful to our device. Okay, it can be the memory or it can be the processor. There is a problem. That is why we have to be very careful using the proper programming standards. We have to design any application, and also we have to validate the user input. And whenever there is a any variable that is been, no, you are not going to use, remove it. Whenever the memory is not going to be used, deallocate it. Malloc, alloc, realloc, free. You have to properly use it whenever we design the app. If you don't use that malloc, alloc, realloc, free properly, there is a problem of this buffer overflows. Okay, and the last one, the security best practice is WebView. See, this WebView is nothing but this is one a view class. It comes under the view. Inside that web view, what we display is a web pages. It is normal like a browser. It is a web view where we display the web pages. Inside the web page, what it contains, HTML or any JavaScript. What is the problem? It can come inside that web view is, there is a if you know about the injection, there is a concept called JavaScript injection. The people will insert the JavaScript, and they will change the normal behavior and of the website, and some unusual behavior you are going to see from that website. If they use, that is called as cross-site scripting or JavaScript injection. Means some other JavaScript, the third person is going to inject to that website. Okay, we have to give a proper security for this. There is a separate option to disable or enable the JavaScript in the browser settings. I think you have seen that we have to properly use it. Instead of using this web views, it is better to use the browser applications, and that to fully functional secured browser that will give the security to the your user data. Instead of using the web pages in the web view, it is better to use it in the browser itself. Even the web view will also display the web pages, but there is a chances of this problem like JavaScript injection. Instead of that, the best option is fully functional web browser we have to use, like Google Chrome, Mozilla. So many you have, right? All those browsers if you use, they have already inbuilt security mechanism that will be better to use. Okay, that is all which is there in this chapter. Okay, three topics: permissions, performance, and the security. Okay, that completes the module 5, and in the next class we will start with the module 4. Okay, there we are going to discuss about one more database called SQLite. Okay, that will start. I will share this module 5 notes with you in the group. Okay, thank you. You can send your attendance and you can exit.